Greetings and salutations, my friend. Can I ask you something? Tell me, am I the only one who's sort of growing tired of the so-called anti-wokeness? And who thinks that anti-wokeness is just another form of being a snowflake? Oh, I think that wokeness was something that peaked around 2021, and I remember when I was really tired of it, when I was just really dissatisfied with the so-called wokeness, and perhaps for some right reasons. I think that, wokeness in its original meaning as an awareness, being awake to the injustice and unfairness being done to different sorts of minorities, in and of itself is a good thing. I absolutely think we should be on board with that. However, I also think it can take on a so-called toxic form. And a lot of the time when people were talking about the so-called wokeness, we were referring to this toxic side of it. And that is when it becomes anti-white or anti-male. And we have seen so many examples of that in the media. Just people shitting on cis white straight males, basically.
An article from 2019 made note of several reviewers who complained about the game's white protagonist. I have recently noticed a lot of forced messaging in games that I like and in franchises that I like, and I just sort of feel like, can I just not enjoy anything? In recent news, the Days Gone writer and creative director blamed woke reviewers for the game's low critic scores. He tweeted several reasons for the low reviews, with the final one being that woke reviewers couldn't handle a gruff, white biker looking at his date's butt.
Now, I'm someone who strongly believes that we should be uplifting individuals without putting others down. I think this is what equality is about, and as a non-straight individual, it doesn't really lie in my interest to shame straight men, let's say. Why, would you ask? I think it pushes some individuals into taking on some more extreme or radical ideas when you shame them and push them. And I think this has happened to a lot of young men these days. And as a non-straight individual, I don't want them to hate me. I want to build bridge. I want to establish communication. I want them to know, like, hey, you know what? If we talk, we'll find out we're not that different. But by doing this, we are alienating individuals to our cause as well. However, after this toxic form of wokeness peaked in around 2020, 2021, alongside the general political polarization, although I think that polarization is also going up now, leading to the new elections in America. But I think after that peak of wokeness, we have seen a huge rise in the so-called anti-wokeness. And, usually when you have some bad ideas, well, what do you do? Well, you defeat bad ideas with good ideas. But what actually happens a lot of the time is that if you have bad ideas on Team A, then it will give rise to really bad ideas on Team B. They say water has no taste. And I just think that this anti-woke move is just as toxic. Because it's not really about uplifting white people or men, but it's rather about putting others down, except the other way around. And sometimes it's just really ridiculous. A film came out this year, Alien Romulus, the new installment in the Alien franchise, a franchise which I am a huge fan of and have been since I was a kid. And I kinda like this new one, but more on that in another video. I might do a review in the future. However, one thing that really annoyed me is that a lot of people referred to this film as woke. I watched it, I was saying like, what? There was absolutely nothing woke about this film, and I do think that, sometimes this wokeness can be forced. Sort of like, it's out of place, it's just like a commentary there, about trans people or against capitalism that just feels so out of place in the story, because I think there are films in which political commentary is important part of it, films and games that are political, but a lot of the time it's just there so the producers and all of that can show like, hey, you know what, we're super progressive and we're hip.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
And it's just so fake. It's so fucking fake. But I haven't seen anything of it in Alien Romulus. And then, you know, I've heard people saying like this film is woke because it had a black android.
Maybe it's because I'm on this seafood diet. Like seafood, I eat it.
It's so bad.
You always laughed at that one.
Yeah, when I was 12.
People say that it makes no sense for there to be a black android in this franchise. In reality, you know, it's about people having problem that there's a black actor in the cast of the film, that there's a black character. And some people also complained about the main character being a woman. And that is... I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If you have a problem with an Alien film having a female lead, you should probably hate every single Alien film that came out, because literally every single film in the franchise had a female protagonist. Maybe except for Alien vs. Predator Requiem, because that film didn't really have a one single protagonist, and some would say it's not really part of the franchise, it's part of the Alien vs. Predator franchise, but well, it doesn't really matter, you know what I'm trying to say. People loved Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley in the first 4 films. She's legendary. So where the hell does this issue with films and games and books having female protagonists? Or why is there an issue of there being a black character that plays a major role? Let's go back to the 80s or the 90s. Those were times when a lot of films had black characters, and actually all Alien films pretty much had a black character. The original had Parker. Alien 3 had one of my all-time favorite characters in this franchise, Dylan. And there was this cigar-smoking guy in Aliens. I don't remember his name. There was Christie in Alien Resurrection. Every single Alien film pretty much had a black character. So why is it an issue now? And I really think that this extreme anti-white, anti-male movement of the toxic woke created an equally toxic anti-woke movement that is anti-women and anti-black. And I just, as much as I was annoyed by this type of toxicity, I am annoyed by this type of toxicity just as much. And I just can't be quiet about it, and I can't pretend that I don't see it. Because this, having a black character in a film, is not woke. Because if you think it is woke, then almost every film in the last 40 years has been woke, according to you. And that is just utter nonsense.
588,000 dislikes. When will Hollywood learn? This is why Business Roundtable needs to rethink their woke agenda. The consumers don't like forced diversity. They simply want good product, creative entertainment, and experiencing that are enjoyable. Let's stop the nonsense. What the hell is this? So I originally saw this from Seth Reviews. He was also covering this topic. If you don't like the fact that there's a black person in this movie, just say that instead of saying it's woke. How the fuck is this woke? It is simply a black person existing. You guys act like they've never put a black person in a movie before, so when they do it, it's woke. The movie isn't even out yet, and you're saying that it's woke.
And it's funny to me because a lot of those people also love Aliens, which is the second installment in the franchise from 1986. Let's say if Alien Romulus was to come out in 86 and Aliens was to come out right now in 2024, a lot of people would probably love Alien Romulus and they would call Aliens woke. Well, let's take a look at the character of Ellen Ripley. Right? She's a woman with no military training who goes to the nest of xenomorphs to save this little girl, Newt, from the aliens, right? And I can already imagine the anti-woke crowd these days saying like, yeah, there's just no way a woman could do that if those aliens were like killing male Marines. This film is just so anti-male. This is just a feminist bullshit here. And I think that by doing that, we are missing the point of what this film is about. It is about the strength of a mother. What a mother is willing to go to protect her kids.
Get away from her, you bitch!
That is the actual core of this film and what this film is about. I think there is something utterly toxic about anti-wokeness. I think there's just so much negativity towards any sort of new media that comes out. Let's take a look at Silent Hill 2 remake, which I haven't played yet, but Silent Hill 2 is the original one from 2001. It's my favorite game of all time, so I'm definitely going to play it eventually, maybe even on this channel. There's a lot of YouTube channels that were absolutely shitting on this remake, that is going to be woke and so on.
Silent Hill 2 remake is another victim of pandering to the modern audience. What is the modern audience exactly? Not gamers. Activists.
And it's just a unnecessary type of negativity, because even though I haven't played it yet, a lot of the fans absolutely love it and say it's almost as good as the original, or just as good as the original, which I'm really looking forward to finding out myself. Yet, those YouTubers who turned out to be wrong about it never actually made a video to admit that, like, hey, you know what, it's actually a good game. No, because anti-wokeness thrives on negativity. Nothing can be positive, and the same can be said of a toxic woke person. To these people, both of them, it's not about how good something is. Both of them are not able to enjoy anything. They can't just read a book, watch a film, or play a game and enjoy it. No, for them it's all about how much it affirms their ideology. They're both snowflakes because they both get triggered and offended. A toxic woke person will become offended if there's no trans person or black characters in a certain film. An anti-woke person will become offended because there is a black person, a trans person, or a gay person in the film. You two are getting triggered. You are a snowflake. Like, sorry to break it down to you, but that's just the truth. And you can't really enjoy anything with this type of negativity. I can, think of so many examples of video games that the toxic woke were so triggered about because they had male protagonists, white male protagonists in their 30s, yeah? Well, the woke hates those. And yet, I love a lot of those characters. And then you have the anti-woke complaining a lot about the characters that I personally like too, actually. And there's a huge advantage on not playing that game of being on either side, because you get to enjoy more things in life. So again, there is absolutely nothing woke about this. However, are there exceptions to the rule? Are there cases where the use of a black character in a certain medium, like a film or a game, can be considered problematic? More on that in the next video. Till then, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.